pendants such as these are so simple. All you need is your simple Bullseye Cane and a Minute Maid top or any bottle top of your choice. If you want to see how I did that, then keep watching. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 2 of Playing Around with Steffy Jewels. Let me show you how I made a simple pendant using the Bullseye Cane we made in episode 1. Now this technique is perfect for beginners because all you really need is your Bullseye Cane that we made and a bottle top. Now, if you're, like I said, for beginners, you might not have a lot of materials such as cutters just yet. So all you need is any type of bottle top or anything that you can make a shape out of it. So let me show you how we do that. Now, if you was with me on episode 1, we made these actual Bullseye canes. So you will have some scrap clay. If you don't have scrap clay, you could just use any clay you want for your background. And I'm going to show you 2 methods. This one right here, just basically, as you can see, I use slices from another Bullseye cane, which is these right here, that I actually made. And I just sliced them, and I actually put it on something. And that's the one we're going to make first. So, to make this cane, all you need is some clay. So, I'm going to use this clay that we actually used from my other Bullseye cane to make this one. And we're just going to make it into a ball. And actually, I'm going to take some of that off because it's kind of thick. I don't want to really that thick. So I'm just going to pull some of that clay off. And like I said, I'm just going to kind of massage it in my hand a little bit, just warming up because it's been kind of sitting around in my room. You don't have to really condition this clay because we're just going to make this as the foundation to start our actual pendant. So I'm just going to make it in a ball. You can roll it here in your hand. You just basically want to kind of warm it up a little bit. Get it a little bit warm because it's kind of stiff. Oops. And I just kind of chip that off, but yeah, we're just gonna roll it until we get a nice little ball. So just roll a little bit like that, just like that. And it doesn't matter if you have any scratches or anything, because you're not gonna really see that. But I just want to try to get it as smooth as I can get it here. And I'm just using like in the middle of my hand to kind of do it. Now, if you have arthritis and this might hurt, then you can kind of roll it like this on your actual work surface. So it just depends on what's more comfortable for you. Sometimes this way right here is best because you minimize a lot of the prints on it depending on what you're trying to make. But in this case, we're using this as a guideline. So there's my little ball. Just a simple little ball right here. So all you're going to do is take your slices and you're going to actually take your canes that you made and make slices. Now, since this background is pink, I don't want to use this one just yet. I mean, I can if I want to, but I kind of want to have some contrast. So I'm going to make sure I use this one. Actually, not to do, well, yeah. Well, we can use both actually, because right here you see, I kind of use both of them. So it kind of gives a different shape. So let's just start with this one first. So I'm just going to kind of roll this a little bit, just to wake it up a little bit. I'm not trying to really reduce it or misshape it. I'm just trying to warm it up because, like I said, this has been sitting in one of my cubby holes or these little trays that I have here. It's been sitting in one of these trays since I actually made the canes. So it's pretty cool in here. Right now it's about 72 degrees in my room. So it's a little, it might be a little stiff. So I'm just gonna kind of wake it up a little bit. Just squeeze a little bit. Not really manipulating anything, just squeezing, just to kind of warm it up a little bit. I'm gonna do the same thing for here. I'm just gonna roll it slightly. I'm not trying to make it longer or shorter. I'm just trying to, like I said, wake the clay up. You know, because right now you can see it's a little stiff here. So if I just kind of, you know, just touch it a little bit, and it warms up. So now that we have that warmed up, I'm gonna take my clay blade. And I bought me some new blades here. These are super scopy cutters. It has the handles here. So, I shouldn't be scoop as you can see that a little bit. So yeah, it's just, you know, easier to cut because you need a hole right here in the blades. So I'm just going to make some very thin slices here. Bring that back so you can see. Make some very thin slices. I'm just going to get on top of here and just slice it thin. Sorry, my head's in the way, so let me make sure my head's not in the way here. And slice it. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't get a full slice here. We're just going to cut some slices. And it could be as thin as you want or as thick as you want. Now, you want to try and get it as thin as you can, because the thicker it is, you have to really like smooth it on your actual piece. So we'll just start with those slices right now so you can see what I'm doing here. And then I'm just going to take my ball that I made here, and then with my finger, just going to, oops, get this piece of hair off it. I do have a dog in this house, so, and just kind of, let's see if that's a little blurry. Let me scoot back a little bit. There we go. So, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make sure you can see that. Okay, so yes, I'm just going to put it on top here and just take these slices and kind of just put it on top of that, just like that. And this is why I say if you do it thin, it's easier because then it fits better. So we're just going to kind of do it like this and try to kind of put it together so that way it kind of covers up the actual base. Now, you can use that as a design choice if you want to leave some of that through so you can kind of see it. But this is why I'm using the pink one. Oops, I just fell off. And yeah, see, that one's a little bit thicker, but we're going to actually just blend it in there and make it more smoother. But yeah, so you're just going to take your slices here and just kind of cover up the ball. So it looks like that. So I'm going to go ahead and continue doing that real quick. And then I'm going to come back and show you when it's done. Okay, so I am back finished and putting all of those slices on my actual ball that I made here. And you can see I still got plenty of cane left on here. So it looks kind of like this. It just looks like, you know, if you look at some of the pictures on TV right now, it looks like COVID-19 virus ball here. But yeah, and there's going to be a little big bumps on here. So all I'm going to do is kind of just slowly and just very lightly, not putting any pressure on here, just kind of blending those in a little bit. I just want it to be a little bit smoother. So I'm just going to roll it on my table. Like I said, I'm not putting hardly any pressure on it. I'm just trying to make it smooth. Another thing you can use too to help is if you actually have your acrylic rod, you can kind of like just smooth it a little bit like this to kind of blend in those little edges, because eventually what's going to happen is these are going to be all blend in together. So just kind of slowly kind of roll over it to kind of flatten it on the actual ball. So I'm just going to roll it slowly like that, just to kind of get some of those thicker pieces right here. Make sure you can see that. That's those thicker pieces. Oh, a little closer here. Those little thicker pieces, you know, like that. Little blend it in a little bit better. So just gonna do this a little bit around. Just try to. And see, I have a little hole right there, so I'm going to take another slice here, because I want to cover up as much of the pink as I can. It's not a big deal if you can't cover up the pink. That's why you want to use pretty much a clay that has the same colors as your canes you're using. Or you don't have to. It just depends on what kind of look you're going for. But I wanted it to be kind of uniform. I'm just going to overlay that on top there and just use my hand to kind of flatten it down. And then we'll go ahead and roll it again. No pressure, just trying to uniform those pieces a little bit. And I'm just doing one circular motion, just doing it one direction. So you can see right now, it's starting to actually blend in a little bit. So you can see it's a little blended in. So I'm just going to keep doing that. And I'm doing this on the table because a lot of the viewers might have issues trying to do this in their hands like this. You know, even sometimes if I do it, this part of my hand will start to hurt a little bit. So I won't even do this this long. I'll just do it just a little bit to kind of help. But use your work surface. That's what it's there for. That's why I'm using a towel right here. This is a marble porcelain towel that I got from Home Depot. And it's nice and cools too, so it doesn't stick to my clay, so it helps my clay kind of stiffen up a little bit too when I'm trying to do this. So I'm just kind of rolling this and rolling this until it actually starts to blend in. You can start seeing a little bit that it is starting to blend in a little bit better. So yeah, so I don't, and if I kind of put my hand and kind of smooth it, I don't feel any raised bumps on it or edges, since some of the pieces I cut from a cane were pretty thick. So just gonna keep doing that here, and I'm going to do a little bit of my hand, try to get it a little bit smoother. And then, yeah, because I'm trying to get as much of those cracks up so you don't see it. And see, there is pretty much the ball right there. Now, if you want, you can keep going ahead and smooth it out a little bit, but for sake of the video time, I'm just going to go ahead and show you now how to make a pendant. So, for this pendant right here, I did the same technique. I just basically did a ball like this, and then I put these slices on top of it. Now, all you got to do is you take your hand like this, and now you squash it flat. And you just want to squash it pretty flat. Now, I like to sometimes use a tissue paper or wax paper, this is wax paper here, to kind of squish it flat on, because I don't want to have, you know, your hands have lines on it, so I don't want to have, you know, a lot of other marks on it. And I'll just put it like this, and I'll just kind of squish it flat and turn it, because you want it to be now into a pendant shape. So now I'm just going to squish it in here, and I'm just basically doing it in between two of these sheets, and just squishing it, and squishing it, and just kind of flattening it and turning it. And as you can see, it's starting to make that pendant shape. And this right here is basically doing it without any tools. So whether you have a cutter or not, or you have the Minute Maid top, I'm doing the first one without showing any tools. So just basically pick a ball, slice it, and you get something. And you can do this with copy paper too. As long as you have something in between you and your hands, you just don't want to have the marks on it. So this is just regular copy paper or any type of paper you have, scrap paper. I have not tried like newspaper or anything like that, because I'm not sure if the dyes will transfer onto the clay. So for starting out, I would say just use some type of white paper, whether it's notebook paper or, you know, if you have index cards or something that's white and don't have any color on it, because you don't want to transfer anything on there, unless that's the look you're trying to go for. But I might have to try that as a project. So as you can see, there is pretty much our pendant. Now you can see there's little cracks on here, so I'm gonna try to see if I can smooth those out a little bit. And I'm gonna use this and try to use my hand with the paper here and just kind of, I think they call this varnishing. So I'm just gonna varnish this here, just trying to get it smooth and try to move some of the cracks out. So I'm just doing this here. I'm doing it in a circular motion here. It's a little blurry. So from here, then flip it over, do the same thing. Just trying to smooth out some of those. This will also help probably get those cracks out as well and blend in those canes a little bit better. So let me just open up a little bit. And just kind of getting some of the cracks out. See, look, it just got a little cool little shape to it. And with the pink, it blends in. And I'm just going to turn around with my hand and just going to now shape it into a circle. So now, if you're actually trying to make this to sell, I will say to make sure that you don't have the cracks on here. But it can also be a design choice too. So no one is going to know exactly if it's supposed to be like that. It could be like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool pendant looking. So don't beat yourself up. Like I said, I'm still a beginner as well. So as you can see right here in this one I did, I still have cracks on this one too, as well as some of the black showing. I didn't actually cover up the actual base clay in there. But that's the best thing about working with clay as a beginner. That since I am trying to show you guys from a beginner perspective how it looks, because you're not going to get this the first time. Like I said, I probably played with clay. I started out with clay about sometime in the early part of 2020, and then I kind of stopped, and then COVID-19 happened. But so I could have got a little better at what this is, but I wanted to show you from beginner. And there is your first pendant using the slices of your cane and using no tools. So about the same thing here, and if I actually put it here, it is the actual same size of a top. So you can see, same size. So now let me show you how to make this pendant using a top of your choice. So first thing you're gonna do is what you really need to get is an actual tile. This is just a regular ceramic tile to work on. because when you actually start cutting anything, whether you use cutters or any type of materials you find around the house to make shapes, once you cut it, it kind of sticks to the towel, and you don't want to have to lift it up and try to take it to your oven to bake it. So it's best to work on the actual towel right here. Like this right here is still a towel, but it's a big desk towel for me. So I just got these little small, I think this is like a 6x6 one, or you can get one even smaller than that. So you can get it about this small. Let me move that out a little bit. Oops. Okay, you can get it about this small or this big. I like the big ones here because you can put more clay on it than the small ones. So once again, I got this from Michael's, Lowe's, not Michael's, Home Depot or Lowe's. You can get any of these tiles from anywhere that sells tiles, floors. Actually, take it back. I got it from Floors to Go, I think. The Floors and More were those little tile place stores. So now to make this one, we are going to actually take the same type of clay. You can use your scratch clay here or this clay. I'm going to go ahead and use this one so we can show it using, actually no, that's the wrong one. We'll use, I can use either one actually, but I'm going to do these right here. So now I'm just going to ball this up into here. And actually, I'm going to actually mix the two because since they're the same colors, you can actually mix it. So I'm just going to kind of mix these two together and get a cool shape. Now, like I said, these scraps has been sitting around just like my other ones, so it's kind of crumpled up. So you're going to have to probably run these through your pasta machine or you can roll them out. So let me go ahead and do that real quick and I'll come back. Okay guys, so I went ahead and rolled this out into my pasta machine because it was kind of brittle. And as you can see, I have a little gradient here. I basically just combined the two colors together. Skinner, I did a little skinner, but that's what I'm thinking of. So I just kind of skinned the scraps for this one to this one here on my lowest setting for my Atlas, which is a size 0. Now, if you're using any other thing that doesn't say Atlas or pasta machine, then your thickest setting will be a 9. So just remember that. If I said thickest setting for Atlas, I'm using 0. Anything else will probably be a 9. So I just kind of put this out. Went ahead and did a Skinner blend on first 0, and then I went up from 0 to 2, and then I just kind of stretched it out here, and then I did it again. 2 more, I went up to 5 to stretch it out because I wanted to have it stretch here. And the reason why I want to do it because I want to try to get it as thick as I can. So I'm going to fold this in half right here and just kind of push that. And I'm actually kind of pushing it on here because you want to basically cut it and you want to make it thick and look like I could do another round. So I'm going to go ahead and fold it up again because I want my pendant to be just as thick as this because I'm cutting it. Now you can actually cut it and like do different slices and then pile on top of it. But I want to go ahead and get it as thick as I can using the top. So I'm going to take this real quick because I want to try to get some of those bubbles out since I did kind of fold it up on top of each other. So there's that. And then I'm just going to take my top, any top you will do. This is a Minute Maid top I'm using. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this and push on it. And boom, it cuts right into it. So there you go, it cuts. And then you're just going to hold on to it and pull the piece out. And there goes your cutter. So see, you don't even need to have an actual clay cutter or cookie cutter. You just need any type of top will work. As I said, this is just a top off a Minute Maid bottle that I kept. Water bottle top, just anything you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and just smear those edges off. And it's not a big deal if you see these little rough edges on here. Because we're going to actually, once you bake it, you can actually sand that. So that is the base of our actual pendant. So once again, I'm going to take my slices here of my clay. I'm just going to start slicing on top of it. So I'm just going to go over here and slice it. And you can actually leave it just like that. That could be a pendant on its own. But we're trying to do a base one. So I'm just going to slice it here. Oh, let me go here and slice so you can see. So I'm just going to slice some slices here. And same thing here. We're just going to take our slices and then we're just going to put it on top. So you want to kind of make sure you fold over the edges too, so that you don't see it, especially if you're trying to cover up this cover. And actually, that was way too thick. So let me try to do this. And these right here, you might want to go ahead and get them thin slices. So I'm going to go ahead and try to cut a couple more slices. So slice this here. And you're just going to continue doing this until you cover up your pieces. So I'm going to do this off camera so that way you don't just see me slicing this all day. So let me go ahead and finish slicing this so you can see how it looks once I get done putting it on there. So as you can see here, I finished putting all the slices on here, and it looks kind of ragged a little bit. It's a little raised up. So right here, this is where you take your wax paper tissue. I mean, I said wax paper. It should be on wax paper because it's not flimsy. It's a little bit sturdier. Wax paper, or you could take just any type of cotton paper, and you want to try to smooth these things on here. And this will actually get those really uniform and get those little bumps out. And you want to definitely make sure you do the sides of them here because we're trying to cover it up. So I'm just going to kind of brush down this way with here. And just use your finger, or you can actually use this here. You don't want to put it in pressure because you don't want it to flatten. You just kind of want to actually get all those little excuse me, slices kind of uniform. So it might be easier just to go ahead and just use your hand. And it's not a rush process. Like I said, take your time with this because you really want it to make sure you get all those really blended in and more smooth. I'm just going to smooth around here. And this is why I like working on the towel. As you can see, I can turn the towel around. Because when you do this on the actual, if you're doing your work surface, it's going to actually stick to it, especially if you're using a tile or any type of glass-like material. It's going to stick to it. And if you want to bake them, you have to pick it off the tile. So by using an individual tile like this, you can move it around. And then once you're done, just go straight into the oven because ceramic tile can go into the oven. Now, one thing that I should have showed you as well is, depending on, well, I'll do that on the next video when I show you how to bake it. Because sometimes when you bake it, these tiles are actually shiny. So if you bake your actual clay piece on it, you'll have like a little shiny spot to it. So to avoid that, you have to actually put it on like some paper and then cover up. Like I use little tin cups foils. Let's see if I can find one real quick. Where do I have one? Yeah, I use one of these to kind of cover up so it don't have too much heat on it. But that'll be for another video. I'll show you how we actually do the baking. So I'm just gonna keep doing this real quick and let's see where we at so far. So it doesn't look much, still looks kind of bumpy. So I'm gonna have to really do this to kind of really get that smooth. So you might have to put a little bit of pressure on it to kind of smooth it out and make it look smoother. But like I said, this could be a design choice too. Now, like I said, I'm a beginner, so I'm sure the more advanced polymer clay artist shows you'll be able to do this. But I just want to show you from a beginner perspective how I actually make my pendants. And like I said, with these videos being out there on YouTube, I would love, it's like a video diary for myself. So this is my first time doing it. I would love to see how my techniques have grown since the first time I did this to, you know, maybe video 10 or 15 down the road. So let's see. So right now it doesn't look too bad. So right now it's a little cracked probably because it was still kind of cold. Like I said, I see little holes in it. So my cane was actually still cold because it got little holes in it. But like I said, this can be an actual design joint. Like I said, don't beat yourself up if it doesn't look right. Like I said, if you're just starting out with polymer clay, just like I am, you're going to have some pieces that do not look right. But the more you work on it, the more you practice on it, it will get better. And that's why I'm not too much worried that this pendant right here, as well as this one, doesn't look like most of the professional ones out there. Because like I said, I'm just starting out with clay. And it's not going to look perfect if you're just starting out. So I want you guys to see that, hey, as a beginner like me, it's not going to look perfect. But that's basically how you would do an actual pendant, whether you're using no tools at all, which is this one, or you're using any type of tools you find on like a cutter. Like you see, I actually made it a little bit bigger because it's actually showing up from it. So if you like these videos, make sure you hit that like button, you hit the subscribe button, you hit that thumbs up button, so that way I can make more videos from a beginner perspective. So once again, it's your girl Stephanie with Steffy Jewels, and as always, you never know what treasure you'll find here at Steffy Jewels. Hope to see you soon. Bye.